Do you start your morning with a cup of coffee? If so, you're not alone. Every day, over 2 billion cups of coffee are consumed around the world. But beyond the praise for its bold flavor and instant alertness, and amid all the warnings about heart health, blood pressure, and sleepless nights, how well do we truly understand this drink? You may have heard that coffee is bad for your health, that it can cause insomnia, anxiety, or even increase your risk of heart disease. But you've probably also come across articles, studies, or expert advice saying that regular coffee consumption can boost longevity, improve brain function, and lower the risk of several chronic illnesses. So what's the truth? Is coffee a health-friendly companion, or a silent enemy quietly harming your body each day? Welcome to Health First 365, where we don't just share health knowledge. We inspire you to live each day with awareness, intention, and vitality. In today's episode, we'll uncover the truth behind one of the most controversial drinks in the world, coffee, and its surprising connection to longevity. And this story may challenge everything you thought you knew. From the highlands of Ethiopia, where a goat herder named Kaldi is said to have discovered red berries that made his goats unusually energetic, to Islamic monasteries where coffee was used to help monks stay awake for nightly prayers, and then to 17th-century European cafes where coffee fueled intellectual, political, and philosophical debates that helped shape the Enlightenment, coffee has never been just a drink. It has always symbolized alertness, connection, and mental awakening. Yet, as coffee spread across the globe, so did countless myths, from ancient legends to scientific misunderstandings. For decades, coffee was labeled harmful to health, based on limited early studies, misconceptions about caffeine, and a lack of personalized health understanding. But today, modern science is rewriting that story. Coffee is not just a stimulant. It is a complex mixture of over 1,000 bioactive compounds, many of which have anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, metabolic, and even neuroprotective properties. A single cup doesn't just wake up your brain. It interacts with your immune system, your liver, your heart, your gut microbiome, and your neurons, in ways that scientists are only just beginning to fully understand. And perhaps the most important truth of all, coffee doesn't affect everyone the same way. Your genetic makeup plays a critical role in how your body processes caffeine. Some people can drink a cup in the afternoon and still sleep like a baby, while others lie wide awake from just a few sips. That's why every piece of advice about coffee, whether from a doctor or a friend, must be considered in the unique context of your own body. So how much coffee is enough? What kind of coffee is best for your health? When and how should you drink it to not only feel more energized but actually support your heart, your memory, your digestion, and your longevity? What happens when coffee is misused or consumed the wrong way? And can that simple morning ritual really help you live longer and better, or the opposite? In today's podcast, we'll explore every layer of this topic, from coffee's chemistry and genetic responses to its benefits and hidden risks. We'll look at how to choose, prepare, and enjoy coffee in a way that's smart, safe, and truly personalized. Whether you're a lifelong coffee lover or simply someone who cares about making healthier choices every day, this is an episode you won't want to miss. So let's begin this journey together, not just tasting your coffee, but truly understanding it. Let Health First 365 be your guide to unlocking the deeper truth inside every cup. And who knows, by the end of this episode, you may never look at your morning coffee the same way again. Coffee isn't just a symbolic morning ritual. It's a biological treasure trove, packed with over 1,000 different chemical compounds, a number that would make most foods or drinks jealous. The most well-known among them is, of course, caffeine, the component responsible for waking up millions of people across the globe each morning, lifting their mood and sharpening their focus. So, how exactly does caffeine work? Biologically, it functions as an adenosine inhibitor. Adenosine is a natural molecule in the brain that promotes feelings of drowsiness. When caffeine blocks adenosine from binding to its receptors, your brain ramps up the production of dopamine and norepinephrine, two neurotransmitters that boost alertness, enhance concentration, and even elevate your mood. But caffeine is just one small part of the bigger picture. In that simple cup of coffee also lies chlorogenic acid, a powerful antioxidant that can reduce inflammation, improve heart health, and potentially help prevent certain cancers. These lesser-known compounds are the unsung heroes behind many of coffee's surprising health benefits that modern science is only beginning to fully understand. But here's the question: why do some people feel energized and great after drinking coffee, while others feel jittery, anxious, or can't sleep at all? The answer doesn't lie in the cup, it lies in your genes. Each of us has a unique genetic blueprint, and one of the most important genes involved in caffeine metabolism is CYP1A2, the gene responsible for producing the enzyme that breaks down caffeine in the liver. This gene typically comes in three common variations: AA, AC, and CC. People with the AA genotype are what we could call born coffee warriors. Their bodies break down caffeine quickly and efficiently, allowing them to enjoy the benefits without the downsides. For them, coffee is not only safe, it may even reduce their risk of heart disease, diabetes, and several chronic conditions. On the other hand, those with the CC genotype are considered slow metabolizers of caffeine. That means after just one cup, caffeine can stay in their bloodstream much longer, leading to restlessness, insomnia, and in some cases, even a higher risk of cardiovascular issues if consumed excessively. Then there's the middle group, people with the AC genotype, whose caffeine response depends more on timing and dosage. This helps explain why two people can have completely different experiences with the same cup of coffee. Some can sip 2 cups late at night and sleep soundly, while others may lose a night's sleep from just one small cup at noon. What's fascinating is that these tiny genetic differences not only influence how you feel after coffee, but also how coffee impacts your long-term health. This is also why research on coffee can be so contradictory. One study says coffee is great for the heart, while another warns of increased blood pressure or stroke risk. But once scientists began factoring in genetic data, a clearer picture emerged. How your body processes caffeine plays a major role in whether coffee helps or harms you. The good news? You don't necessarily need a genetic test to figure out your type. Your body will tell you. If you often feel anxious, jittery, or have trouble sleeping after coffee, you're likely a slow metabolizer. If you can enjoy 2 or 3 cups a day and feel sharp, energized, and well, coffee may be your loyal health companion on the journey to wellness. From a dark, mysterious liquid, coffee reveals itself to be a living compound, where genetics, biology, and lifestyle intertwine in fascinating ways. And if you understand it and make the right choices, you're not just drinking a cup of coffee, you're drinking from a well of science-backed health potential. Now, let's talk about one of the most controversial topics of the past few decades: coffee and heart health. For a long time, drinking coffee was considered taboo for people with heart conditions or high blood pressure. Doctors often advised their patients to limit, or even completely avoid, coffee out of fear that caffeine could negatively impact heart rhythm and blood pressure. But modern science is now painting a much more complex and fascinating picture. A large-scale study published in a major medical journal in 2021 analyzed data from over 300,000 participants and revealed something remarkable. People who consumed 2 to 4 cups of coffee per day had a significantly lower risk of developing heart disease compared to those who didn't drink coffee at all. This amount of coffee translates to roughly 400 milligrams of caffeine daily, which is considered the safe upper limit for most healthy adults. And what's even more interesting is that these benefits were especially pronounced in individuals with a genetic makeup that allowed them to metabolize caffeine quickly. Coffee also contains beneficial compounds for your vascular system, such as polyphenol and chlorogenic acid, which help reduce inflammation and improve endothelial function. That is, the health of the inner lining of blood vessels. When your endothelium functions well, your blood vessels are more flexible, your blood pressure remains stable, and circulation flows more efficiently. In addition, some compounds in coffee also enhance insulin sensitivity, which plays a key role in preventing diabetes and many cardiovascular diseases linked to metabolic disorders. However, there are some important caveats. If you're brewing your coffee using unfiltered methods, like traditional Vietnamese drip coffee or a French press, you should limit yourself to 1 to 2 cups per day. These methods retain cafestol and coeal, 2 natural compounds that, in excess, may raise LDL cholesterol levels. On the other hand, using paper-filtered brewing methods, such as pour-over or drip machines, can effectively remove most of these compounds, making them a safer choice for heart health. Now, what about blood pressure? It's true that caffeine can cause a temporary spike in blood pressure, especially in those who are new to coffee or particularly sensitive to caffeine. But for regular coffee drinkers, the body tends to build tolerance, meaning that the effect on blood pressure gradually diminishes over time. In fact, when consumed in moderation, coffee may indirectly help stabilize blood pressure by reducing inflammation and improving vascular health. Based on current scientific evidence, we can cautiously say this. With appropriate dosage and a body that tolerates it well, coffee not only doesn't harm the heart, it may actually help protect it. But that's not the end of the story. One of the most hopeful and exciting discoveries in recent years comes from the emerging research on coffee and longevity. That's right, coffee may not only help you feel more awake in the morning, it might actually help you live longer. A nearly 30-year-long study conducted by Harvard University, involving over 200,000 doctors and nurses, revealed an impressive finding. Those who drank 2 to 4 cups of coffee daily had about a 15% lower risk of early death compared to non-coffee drinkers. Even more intriguing, this benefit was observed with both regular and decaf coffee, suggesting that other compounds beyond caffeine play a vital role in promoting longevity. Coffee acts as a silent anti-aging ally, thanks to its anti-inflammatory, antioxidant properties and its ability to improve insulin sensitivity. These are key factors in almost every chronic disease that can shorten lifespan, such as diabetes, liver disease, heart disease, and cancer. It also plays a crucial role in protecting the liver, one of the body's primary detox and metabolic organs. Regular coffee drinkers are shown to have a significantly lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, liver fibrosis, and even liver cancer. Compounds in coffee support the liver's protective enzymes while inhibiting the formation of scar tissue, the leading cause of liver cirrhosis. And when you zoom out, you'll realize something important. Longevity isn't just a number. It's about the quality of your life, your ability to stay alert, think clearly, move with energy, and fully experience every moment. That morning cup of coffee? It might just be doing more than waking you up. It could be extending your healthy years ahead. Of course, this doesn't mean you should treat coffee like a miracle cure. Everything needs to be personalized, and it starts with listening carefully to your own body. But if you've been looking for a reason to keep enjoying your daily brew, rest assured, modern science is on your side. If coffee helps protect the heart through its anti-inflammatory and vascular supporting compounds, then the brain, the command center of the body, is perhaps the clearest beneficiary of every cup you drink. And we're not just talking about alertness or short-term focus. Numerous studies have shown that coffee consumption can reduce the risk of serious neurodegenerative diseases, most notably Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, 2 leading causes of dementia and disability in older adults. According to statistics, people who drink coffee regularly have a 30% to 60% lower risk of developing Parkinson's disease. Interestingly, this benefit is only seen in those who consume caffeinated coffee, indicating that caffeine not only keeps you awake but may act as a protective shield for dopaminergic neurons, the very cells that are damaged in Parkinson's disease. Caffeine also appears to help prevent the accumulation of beta-amyloid plaques, a biological hallmark of Alzheimer's. Beyond caffeine, coffee is rich in phenolic compounds, which have been shown to reduce brain inflammation, promote neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells, and support neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize. This translates into better memory, learning capacity, emotional regulation, and information processing, all of which define the quality of life as we age. Another unexpected benefit? Coffee may help reduce the risk of depression. A meta-analysis involving over 300,000 participants found that each additional cup of coffee consumed per day was associated with an 8% lower risk of depression. The mechanism may be related to caffeine's influence on neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which play a key role in maintaining a positive mood. It's no wonder so many people call their morning coffee a dose of happiness. From the brain, we move on to a less discussed but crucial aspect of health: the digestive system and the gut microbiome. Coffee has long been blamed for causing stomach irritation or aggravating digestive issues. But modern research is revealing a more nuanced and balanced picture. Yes, coffee stimulates bowel movement, which can be helpful for people with constipation. However, for those with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, drinking too much coffee, especially on an empty stomach, can worsen symptoms. More importantly, coffee has shown positive effects on the gut microbiome, the diverse ecosystem of bacteria living in your intestines, often referred to as the body's second brain. Some studies suggest that regular coffee consumption increases levels of beneficial bacteria like bifidobacteria, which can help reduce inflammation, aid digestion, and even influence mood via the gut-brain axis. And then there's the liver, the body's detox powerhouse. It turns out that the liver is one of the organs that benefits most from moderate coffee consumption. Multiple studies have found that coffee may reduce the risk of chronic liver conditions, including non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, and even liver cancer. A meta-analysis of several large studies concluded that each additional cup of coffee per day is associated with a 20% reduction in the risk of cirrhosis and a 40% reduction in the risk of liver cancer. Coffee supports the liver by inhibiting fibrosis, scar tissue formation, reducing inflammation, and boosting the activity of liver-protective enzymes. For high-risk individuals, such as those with viral hepatitis, obesity, or regular alcohol intake, coffee becomes a reliable ally when consumed responsibly. Lastly, we must address type 2 diabetes, a chronic condition that's reaching epidemic levels worldwide. What many don't know is that coffee is emerging as a powerful dietary factor in diabetes prevention. One large study found that each cup of coffee per day was associated with a 7% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. The underlying mechanism lies in coffee's ability to enhance insulin sensitivity, helping the body use insulin more effectively to regulate blood sugar. Coffee compounds also influence glucose metabolism and beta cell function, the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. However, it's important to differentiate short-term versus long-term effects. In the short term, caffeine may slightly raise blood sugar or insulin levels in some individuals. But with consistent long-term consumption, the body typically adapts, and metabolic function improves over time. Once again, dose and timing are key. If you're concerned about diabetes, it's worth observing how coffee affects your post-meal blood sugar levels and adjusting your habits accordingly. When it comes to coffee, most people focus on the brand, the origin of the beans, or how much caffeine it contains. But in reality, it's the way coffee is roasted, brewed, and the time you drink it that determines whether it will be beneficial or harmful to your health. Let's start with the roast level. When coffee beans are roasted at high temperatures, especially in dark roasts, a significant portion of chlorogenic acid, a powerful antioxidant, is destroyed. In contrast, light or medium roasts tend to preserve more of the beneficial compounds, especially polyphenol and flavonoids, which are known for their anti-inflammatory and anti-aging properties. Dark roasting produces more bitter-tasting compounds through the Maillard reaction, the same process that browns toast or grilled meat. While this gives the coffee a stronger, richer flavor, it reduces the levels of health-promoting nutrients. Put simply, if you drink coffee for its health benefits, opt for a light to medium roast, even if it tastes less bold. You're drinking for nutritional value, not just flavor or habit. Next, let's talk about brewing methods. Unfiltered brewing styles like Vietnamese drip, French press, or Turkish coffee retain the natural oils in coffee, particularly cafestal and kawil. These compounds are a double-edged sword. On the one hand, they've shown anti-cancer potential. On the other, when they accumulate in the bloodstream, they may raise LDL cholesterol, especially in individuals with genetic predispositions to lipid disorders. In contrast, paper filter methods, such as pour-over or automatic drip coffee makers, can remove most of the cholesterol-raising compounds while still extracting caffeine and other beneficial elements. This makes filtered coffee a smarter choice for those monitoring their cholesterol or with a high risk of heart disease. There's also a new trend, fermented coffee, where the coffee fruit is fermented before the beans are extracted. This process can create a more complex flavor and increase bioactive compound levels, but the health effects are still under research, and no definitive conclusions have been made yet. Now, let's explore an often overlooked factor that profoundly affects how coffee impacts your body: timing. The human body operates on a 24-hour circadian rhythm, our internal biological clock that regulates everything from sleep, metabolism, blood pressure, to hormone production. One of the key hormones is cortisol, the chemical that keeps us alert, focused, and ready to handle stress. Here's the interesting part. Cortisol peaks naturally about 30 to 45 minutes after waking up. If you drink coffee right after rolling out of bed, the caffeine competes with cortisol for effect. This means coffee is less effective in waking you up and may even lead your body to build caffeine tolerance more quickly. So when is the best time to drink coffee? Research suggests that 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 to 5 p.m. are ideal windows. During these periods, cortisol levels naturally dip, allowing caffeine to boost your energy and focus without disrupting your body clock. However, for many people, especially slow caffeine metabolizers, drinking coffee after 2 p.m. can interfere with sleep. Even if you do fall asleep, deep sleep quality may be reduced. This often results in waking up tired, misattributing it to a caffeine shortage, and reaching for another cup, a cycle that works against your health. That's why many health experts recommend cutting off caffeine 6 to 8 hours before bedtime, especially if you deal with sleep issues, nighttime anxiety, or a racing heart. It's also important to understand that caffeine's half-life, the time it takes for half the amount to be cleared from your system, averages 5 to 6 hours, but in some individuals, it can last up to 9 or even 10 hours. This means a cup of coffee at 4 p.m. could still be active in your bloodstream at 1 a.m. In short, it's not just how you drink your coffee, but also when you drink it, that makes a real difference for your health. After all the scientific insights we've explored, one question remains. How can we enjoy coffee in a way that's smart, safe, and truly good for our health? Here are 12 golden principles, distilled from hundreds of studies and real-life clinical experience from top nutrition experts. First, know your personal limit. Everyone tolerates caffeine differently, largely due to genetics. If you often feel jittery, anxious, have trouble sleeping, or experience a racing heart after drinking coffee, you might be a slow caffeine metabolizer. In that case, reduce your intake, or opt for decaf instead of forcing your body to adapt. Second, choose high-quality coffee. Whole, single-origin beans are not only more flavorful but also lower your risk of exposure to harmful contaminants. If possible, buy whole beans and grind them fresh at home. It preserves flavor and lets you control the source. Third, prioritize traceability. Reputable roasters will often provide detailed info about growing regions, processing methods, and cleanliness standards. This helps ensure a safer product, and also supports farmers, the environment, and a more sustainable coffee supply chain. Fourth, optimize your timing. Drink coffee when your natural cortisol levels dip, usually mid-morning and mid-afternoon, to get the most benefit from caffeine. Avoid drinking coffee right after waking up or close to bedtime. Fifth, don't drink too late. If you experience poor sleep or feel restless at night, stop drinking coffee after 2 p.m. Even if you think it doesn't affect you, caffeine may still be reducing your deep sleep quality without you realizing it. Sixth, moderation is key. Keep your intake below 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, which equals around 3 to 4 regular cups. Too much can lead to anxiety, insomnia, and even caffeine dependence, with withdrawal symptoms if you suddenly stop. Seventh, choose the right brewing method. If you're watching your cholesterol, use paper filters to reduce cafestyl and coeal, compounds that can raise LDL. On the other hand, if you're looking for anti-cancer benefits, French press or Vietnamese-style drip coffee can be a good option. Just limit it to 1 to 2 cups per day. Eighth, don't turn coffee into a sugar bomb. Be mindful of what you add. Sugar, flavored syrups, and heavy creamers can turn a healthy beverage into a metabolic disaster. If you don't like black coffee, choose unsweetened plant-based milk or low-fat dairy instead. Ninth, stay hydrated. Caffeine has a mild diuretic effect, so be sure to drink enough water throughout the day, especially if you consume a lot of coffee. Dehydration can lead to fatigue, dry skin, and headaches. 10th, take coffee breaks. After a few weeks or months, give your body a coffee detox for 3 to 7 days to reset your sensitivity. This helps you avoid dependence, and after the break, your coffee will feel fresh and effective again. 11th, be extra cautious during pregnancy. Pregnant women should limit caffeine to under 200 milligrams per day, about 1 cup. While research is still ongoing, being cautious for the baby's sake is always the best choice. Finally, check for medication interactions. If you're taking stimulants, antidepressants, blood thinners, or chronic pain medication, talk to your doctor before consuming large amounts of coffee. Caffeine can amplify side effects or interfere with the effectiveness of certain drugs. But beyond drinking coffee the right way, there's a growing concern we can't ignore: fake and adulterated coffee. As global demand for coffee increases, especially in developing markets, coffee fraud is becoming more sophisticated. Some products are mixed with burnt grains like corn, soybeans, or brown rice. In extreme cases, tests have detected soil, brick powder, or even crushed batteries used to add weight. These substances have no nutritional value and can lead to heavy metal poisoning, liver and kidney damage, and long-term neurological issues. What's worse, many producers use synthetic caramel coloring and artificial flavorings, which can cause allergic reactions, acid reflux, damage to tooth enamel, or even harm the small intestine. So it's just as important to drink coffee correctly as it is to buy it responsibly. Choose whole bean, pure coffee from reputable roasters or transparent brands. And if you can, grind it at home. It's not only fresher, it protects you from the countless hidden dangers of that suspiciously cheap cup. Because coffee isn't just a beverage. It's part of your culture, lifestyle, and long-term health. When you understand it, choose it well, and drink it wisely, each sip can energize your body, protect your heart, nourish your brain, support your liver and gut, and even extend your lifespan. So treat your morning cup of coffee as a daily ritual of self-care, a mindful moment to nourish yourself intelligently. And you'll realize, science often starts with the simplest of things, like the cup of coffee in your hand right now. Perhaps never before has a single cup of coffee sparked so much reflection. Because this isn't just a story about caffeine, heart health, or longevity. It's a story about how we face information, challenge old habits, and reconnect with our own bodies, on the journey to living well and living long. For decades, older adults were told to quit coffee, as if it were a bad habit to be eliminated. But the truth is, it's not the morning cup of coffee that's making you tired. It's the lack of understanding, the vague fears, and the misguided beliefs that silently wear you down over time. We've grown too accustomed to following rumors, doing what the crowd does, or adopting health fads without understanding the why. But real health, especially after the age of 50, is no longer about rigid restriction. It's about informed choices and intentional living. A healthy older adult isn't simply someone who eats less, walks more, or takes more supplements. They are someone who understands their body, who pays attention to what they eat, how their sleep feels, how their body reacts to a spoonful of sugar, a sip of water, or yes, even a sip of coffee. Coffee, after everything you've learned, is no longer just good or bad. It becomes a reminder that science has the power to change how we see the world, if we're willing to listen. And if something as ordinary as coffee can shift our thinking about self-care, just imagine how many other things we might be getting wrong every day. Especially for older adults, this is a time when you can't afford to live in uncertainty. You no longer have years to waste on misinformation, or to ignore your body's signals just because people say so. Aging should not be a slow surrender. It should be a time to slow down, reflect more deeply, and take care of yourself with wisdom and self-respect. You have the right to drink coffee, if it suits your body. You have the right to enjoy your life without being paralyzed by fear. But above all, you have the responsibility to care for your own body, not to grow weaker year by year in confusion, but to grow stronger through clarity and awareness. That's also the mission of Health First 365. We're not just here to talk about coffee. We're here to spark a new kind of awareness, to show that taking care of your health isn't just a set of actions, it's a lifestyle, a personal value system. Every choice you make, from what you drink, what you eat, when you sleep, becomes a part of the story that defines your quality of life. So if today's episode sparked something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with those you love, especially your parents and grandparents, those who truly need guidance rooted in science and care grounded in love. And if you want to keep walking this journey of mindful health, hit that subscribe button for Health First 365 today. Here, we're building more than a channel. We're building a community, where every person is seen, heard, and supported to live longer, live stronger, and live more fully. Because health is not a destination. Health is the path itself. And we believe you deserve to walk that path, every single day, with knowledge, confidence, and peace in every breath you take.